Are we using science very selectively, basis our own convenience and beliefs? Because if you're so scientific, please use science across everything in your life. Namaste. My name is Bidhan. 2012 is when I chanced upon Upanishads, and it had a profound impact on my life. Since then, I have dreamt to bring the key aspects of Upanishads in a manner which is simple, relatable, and implementable in our daily lives. So here we are with a set of videos to make spirituality simple. Welcome, Preeti.
Hi, Bidan. So, from our last conversation, I think I just want to start off.
Yeah.
The end we ended with when I asked you why all our outcomes don't fructify in the same lifetime. And then, of course, you didn't give me a straightforward answer. You gave me some seed analogy where mango seed, coconut tree, and all that. So, I think I sort of get what you're trying to say.
What is that?
I think it's like you're trying to say that every seed has its unique timeline.
Yes.
So it takes its time to grow.
Yeah.
So same way, all our outcomes also fructify in its own time. So over multiple lifetimes or in this lifetime. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So we have discussed that every action that we do has two outcomes. One is drishtaphala, visible outcome. Another one is adrishtaphala, which is invisible outcome. So that adrishtaphala is the seed of future outcome.
Right.
When will that seed fructify? It will depend upon the environment, the situations and circumstances. When circumstances are ripe, the adrishtaphala will fructify into actual events in anybody's life.
Okay. And we don't have a say on that.
Of
Just
course.
like we don't have a say on how long it takes for a tree to grow, we don't have a say in its nature.
It's nature. That's law of karma.
Right.
And it's like this, Preeti. The curd, dahi, curd,
Okay. Yeah.
is there in the seed form in the milk.
Okay.
And when the condition is ripe, it manifests.
Okay.
The same curd is not there in the seed form in the water. So it will never manifest. So similarly, a lot of adrishtaphalas are in seed form, which will manifest when the time is ripe. Now, whether it is going to happen in this lifetime or multiple other lifetimes, we don't know. One thing I can guarantee you, law of karma is extremely fair. Whatever you sow, you reap whenever the circumstances are there.
So then that sort of brings me to the question of why can't I just remember all my memories? Why can't I remember my past lives? Like I feel if I know why certain things are happening in my life, whether it is good or bad, if I'm suffering or I'm enjoying something, won't it be beneficial and sort of help me if I know why I'm going through that?
You are saying that if you remember the reason why you are enjoying a suffering right now.
Enjoying or suffering. Nobody enjoys suffering.
Okay, enjoying or suffering right now, then it will be nice to remember. Great, let me try and answer that question to you. But before we start, dear audience, thank you so much. And if you are liking this conversation and you want to be a part of our workshops that we conduct on Upanishads, please go ahead and put your details in the description below. And we will reach out to you as soon as we are going to start our next workshop. And let me now answer Preeti's question that why don't we remember? Okay, let me help you to understand this with an analogy. Or let's do a thought experiment, Preeti. Do you ever had a heartbreak?
I mean, who hasn't?
Why is it that you always want a straightforward answer from me, and when I ask you a question, you will never give me a straightforward answer?
Well, it's not about not giving a straightforward answer. Like, I don't understand what heartbreak has to do with karma. And also, I don't understand why me telling everybody about my heartbreak will help me understand this topic. It's just that.
Okay. For the moment, let us assume that you had a heartbreak. And you want to move on in your life. You go to a new place and you want to start your life fresh. If those memories are ripe in your mind all the time, would you be able to move on? Would you be able to connect with someone else?
Yeah, it would be quite difficult to do so, I think.
Isn't it? But does it mean that you would have forgotten everything that happened with you?
I mean, I think the memories will not be that fresh, but somewhere that experience will always remain with you, I think.
You're right. You're right. If you think about it, that if you sort of remember everything that happened, you will not able to move on. But whatever happened in your life will be there in a very subtle form, in form of subtle memories, which we call as vasanas or samskaras. And when you're engaging with a new person, that will guide you, or maybe that will stop you, depending upon what kind of vasanas and samskaras you are carrying with you. You can call it subconscious memories. So it's not only about knowing and remembering, because too much of data does not help. Or let me ask you this. Imagine all the memories of all the previous lifetimes suddenly opens up to you. All the assaults, murders, which would have happened with you or done by you. Do you really think you will be able to handle all those memories, including the memories of what happened to you in early childhood years? If that opens up to you, would you be able to handle so much of memory? One heartbreak memory we can't handle. And you are asking, why don't I remember everything? Do you see this?
Right. I kind of see what you're saying. I think it would be very overwhelming, and just it would make it difficult for me to live my current life if all those memories are always there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you can't say, I only want certain memories to open up for me and certain memories not to open up for me. Doesn't work that way, Preeti. So nature knows, Mother Nature very clearly knows that we are not capable of handling so much of memory. However, the learnings of all that has happened in this and previous lifetime is present in a subtle form, in form of samskaras or vasanas.
Right.
Which you can call it unconscious or subconscious.
Right. So you're saying that it's somewhere there to guide us.
Yes.
But we can't really see that explicit memory of why that particular feeling is there.
Yes, you can't see, because you can't be very specific about which memory you want to see and which you don't. If everything opens up, we won't be able to handle that.
Right. So but somewhere I feel if I know certain things, or if I know about why certain things are happening, won't it be easier for me to accept why it's happening to me?
You know, Preeti, this is what I used to think earlier. But there is a lot of, I think we're a little biased on that front. If you refer to some of the interesting books on psychology, and if you refer to the paper which was written by Wilson and Gilbert, they clearly say that we overestimate the importance of knowing why certain thing happened to me, and by knowing so, we believe we will be able to accept and transform. We overestimate the importance of knowing the events. Self-awareness is important. Knowing may help, but it really doesn't help us transform. And somewhere we all think, how I wish I knew why I'm going through right now, and that will help me accept and transform. We are overestimating the impact of knowing our past. And this is not me. There's enough and more work which has happened on that area, and they clearly say that it doesn't work. And let us do another thought experiment right now. Imagine you have a fear of public speaking. And you got to know that it is on account of maybe during when you're 5 or 6 years old, you were ridiculed by your friends when you were trying to speak on the stage, or your teacher was very harsh with you, and that created a lot of fear. Simply by knowing that, will it really help you to overcome the fear of public speaking?
Knowing why may not help me overcome the fear, but at least it sort of helps me with acceptance, I think.
It does, to some extent, helps you with acceptance.
Yeah.
And therefore we say, accept the things as it is. Why do we really need to know? I mean, we spoke about Prarabdha, right? That, okay, this is how things are. Now, what do I do about it? Because we can't be very selective about which memory opens to us.
Right. So you're saying that if I am bombarded with all my past life memories, it will be very overwhelming and traumatic, probably.
Yes.
But there are these subtle impressions that our past life memories have left on us, which
Yes.
guide us through our remainder of our life.
Absolutely.
So then, are these past experiences what we have as dreams? Is that what it is?
Maybe, Preeti, I'm not an expert on dream analysis. One thing I know, clearly in Patanjali Sutra, it has been stated that if you want to access your past life memories, there is a way to do it. There is a process to do it. All those subtle memories are there with us. We can access it if we sort of put certain amount of time and energy in that direction.
Okay.
Looks like you're thinking something very hard.
No, I mean, I understand what you're saying.
Right.
I'm trying to understand what you're saying, but I feel somewhere my own, maybe I can call it conditioning, is conflicting with what you're saying, I think.
Talk to me more about it. What's happening?
See, I mean, I understand law of karma, right? You're saying that every action has an outcome.
Yeah.
And some of the outcomes are immediate and some of it is in the future, which may fructify now or later.
Fair point.
Right? Where I'm getting stuck is this whole idea of, I know I'm sounding like a broken record, but I'm again getting stuck with this thing of rebirth, where you're trying to say that what action I have now, the outcome is going to manifest probably in the next lifetime or the lifetime after that.
Right.
So you're essentially talking about rebirth.
Yes.
So I know we've already had the conversation and I'm sorry to keep bringing it up again and again.
Right.
Because every portion when I ask and you give me an explanation, it sort of makes sense. Like for example, when we had the rebirth conversation, you had said that when I asked about scientific proof.
Yes.
You had mentioned that it is beyond the purview of science.
Yeah, we did that thought experiment.
We did the experiment of thinking of a flower.
And science can't prove what you're thinking, but you know it exists. So everything does not come in the purview of science.
So you had given me that explanation of saying that it is beyond the purview of science.
Right.
Then you also said that much like how my subconscious mind is beyond the scope of my experience.
Yes.
You had mentioned that rebirth is beyond the scope of my personal experience.
Perfect.
But subconscious mind is there. We
know it's there, yeah.
So you're saying that similar to that, rebirth is just beyond the scope of my personal experience.
Just because you don't experience it doesn't mean it is not there. That's what we were trying to say.
I got that as well.
Right.
Then you said, now we spoke about the seed analogy where everything fructifies in its own time.
Right.
And you also said that too much of memory is not good for us. So that's why we are not able to remember.
Yes. We have not been made to remember our previous lifetimes because it really doesn't help.
Right.
It is there in a very subtle form.
And I think just now what we spoke about is you said that some people have experienced their past life memories.
Right.
They're able to access it.
Right.
But me personally, I just need to take their word for it.
Right.
Okay, so what I'm just trying to say is, see, when I break it down like this,
yes,
when every point that you have said sort of makes sense.
Sure.
And somewhere logically it makes sense, right? But I mean, I'm not able to sort of point my finger and say this is it, but somewhere there's no concrete evidence. There's nothing to prove rebirth. There's, how can we keep talking about rebirth if there's no scientific proof or evidence?
Scientific proof and evidence, right? Okay, let's keep rebirth for the side. I mean, somewhere we are there that you believe in karma, the outcome, which is now and later. You are basically conflicted with the idea of that why do I even tend to believe that why we are born again? And yes, the answers that you get from me seems to be fairly logical, but it's somewhere not hitting the point. Fair point. Let's talk something else right now. Do you believe in being good?
Like as a person?
Being good, doing good. Let me ask. Do you believe in doing good?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you believe in morality?
Sometimes.
But you're convinced about being good, right? Okay. Can you give me a scientific proof to say that being good will help you lead a fulfilling, happy, life. I want a scientific proof. I do not want some small studies done here and there with a very less sample size. Can you give me a scientific proof that being good helps? Scientific.
When you put it that way, of course, you can't give a scientific proof, but it feels good. It feels right.
Wait, you can't give me a scientific proof. Now, why do you so strongly believe in the idea of being good or doing good?
Isn't it what we've always been taught? Like,
Right.
by either our parents, our teachers, or even sometimes the society, or even
Right.
forget all that. Like, I think my own personal experience, right? Like, if I have experienced that doing good, it feels right and it feels good. So,
It does, right?
yeah.
Okay. So you're talking the same language that I have been speaking. You're using Shruti, Yukti, and Anubhava. You're saying that everybody has told, teachers have told, it's written in the scriptures that doing good is a good thing, right? I'm not getting into what is good and bad. I'm just saying it's a good thing. So that is Shruti. And then you are also thinking that, yeah, it makes sense to do good because it spreads positivity and you sort of also gets helped somewhere or the other. So Yukti you used. And Anubhava, that you felt good. I mean, when you do good, when you help someone, you really feel good. But there is no scientific evidence to it, right? I am telling the same thing, that when it comes to the concepts of rebirth, we use Shruti, Yukti, and Anubhava because it is beyond the scope of science. Do you see what I was saying? The question that I'm going to ask you, Preeti, right now may be a little hard-hitting. Are we using science very selectively, basis our own convenience and beliefs? Because if you're so scientific, please use science across everything in your life. But we don't. Certain things we use science, and for certain things, we just take it for granted.
Right. So I think we end up questioning a lot of things and we say it's not scientific, it's not proof. But like you said, simple things like doing good, we don't really question it.
We don't even question it, right? So why don't your scientific framework come at that point of time? That, okay, I will believe in these things. I will believe in morality if you prove me scientifically it works. Why? Are we somewhere believe in certain things and then use science to justify for or against it? Do we do it?
I think so. Just before you said that, I think that also popped up in my mind, where we have a certain belief and then we add science to sort of justify the means. Like, for example, the thought that came in my head was this: the vegetarian and non-vegetarian debate.
Ask me about it. Yeah.
So I think we have a belief that, vegetarianism is the way, and we add a scientific component, and the same for non-vegetarianism, I think.
This is what even I feel, Preeti. See, look, I'm not against science. Science is a beautiful process to evaluate the sthula jaga, the gross universe. We can use science to prevent us from being superstitious. We can use science to become a lot more logical in our approach. And today, science has made great progress. Now, the challenge is when you're using a field of study, we have to also understand its limitations. Science has certain limitations. While studying things like consciousness, like karma, right? So there's nothing wrong with science. I'm just saying we have to use our yukti, our intellect, to see what forms a purview of science. When it comes to sthul jagat, science makes sense. But when it comes to sukshma and karana jagat, science will not operate over there. There is something else that is required, and that's the limited point I'm trying to say.
Right. So somewhere, if we come back, if you boil it down back to karma,
Yeah.
I think this idea of doing good, sort of, if I use your terms as an investment analogy here, doing good is probably like a long-term investment, which is helping my karma, right? And it's not about the short-term trade that's happening.
Okay, you're saying do good, it will help you
somewhere, if either this lifetime or future lifetimes, is what you're trying to say at the end.
Okay, I'm refraining from good and bad. I just use this because I'm very uncomfortable using the word good, bad, punyam, papam, because it has multiple connotations. If you were to ask me like this, I would say that I would rather want to invest into a company which has a very strong fundamentals, even if it is making losses, because it is going to give me dividends for rest of my life. What I'm trying to say here is that if we really invest our life to understanding karma and applying in our lives in a proper way, the dividends of it can be phenomenal. Not only in this lifetime, but multiple lifetimes. That's what the point I'm trying to say. So let's understand this. Let's understand how to tackle karma, how to face karma, and use that knowledge to evolve. That's what I'm trying to say.
So how can we use that knowledge to evolve? And how can I tackle karma?
Why don't we come in the next episode to try and understand? Probably we should talk about something called Kriyamana Karma, which is more about understanding how we can use our karma to evolve. Does it make sense?
Right. I want to definitely bring up the term next time, Kriyamana Karma.
But would you just want to wrap up what we have discussed so far?
So I think in today's conversation, the biggest takeaway is this thing of memories. Because I asked you, why aren't we able to remember our previous lifetimes? And I completely understand that it would be too much, and nature has provided a beautiful shield for us to not remember all of it. But there are subtle impressions that sort of guide us throughout our lives.
Yes.
And of course, we just had the debate of rebirth again.
Rebirth and science.
I think
Yeah, okay.
I have also sort of starting to understand, maybe I'm not 100% there,
Right.
but sort of getting that we are very selective in what we start questioning, and we are not questioning everything. So if you're questioning, question everything. Otherwise, take something as, belief.
I'm just saying that it's not good to be blindly taking anything as belief. Use Shruti, Yukti and Anubhava. We have done videos on it. Use that and make your own conclusions. Find your own truth. You don't need to take my word or anybody's word for it. You have your own journey. You'll figure it out. But use these 3 frameworks. It's very, very helpful.
Great. So thank you so much, Vidhan. I think we have a lot to think about, and I definitely am looking forward to our next conversation.
Perfect. See you soon. And if you enjoy this conversation, go ahead, like our videos, share it, subscribe. And if you feel like, go ahead and put your name and number in the link below in the description, and we will intimate you whenever we are doing our next sessions or workshops. Thank you so much. See you soon.